Hello there, this is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? In today's ASMR football video, we are going to take a look through this magazine. I really like this particular publication. It's called World Soccer because it's not Premier League or necessarily Eurocentric. It has lots from around the world. So today we're going to take a look at José's homecoming to Benfica as the rain begins to fall outside. Around the world, the US Open Cup, Australia A-League, Canadian Championship and the Indian Super League. We're going to see some top talents like Ekatike and Mora from Mexico, who's tipped to be the next big thing. Eintracht's striker Factory. We've got the Under-17 World Cup there, and some interviews there, including with Jan Oblak of Atletico de Madrid, as well as things like the Copa Libertadores, Asian Champions League, etc. So let's take a flick through this book, this magazine. I've done World Soccer a couple of times, and I think it's probably my favourite publication. It is a bit more in depth and more international. So without further ado, Colombia with this mural of a very famous Colombian player. It says Colombia, a mural dedicated to Colombian Bayern Munich's Luis Diaz is unveiled in Bogota to reveal the FIFA World Cup 2026 official match ball. Very cool. Internazionale striker Marcus Thuram balances the Player of the Match award on his head after shining in the 3-0 Champions League win over Slavia Prague. Smash these dogs. France. A giant tifo is unveiled by Lens supporters ahead of their Derby du Nord clash against Lille, which they went on to win 3-0. They did smash them then. In Spain, work is underway on the renovation of Real Betis' Estadio Benito Villamarin, which is due for completion by 2027. In the meantime, Betis will host games at the Estadio La Cartuja, which is an enormous stadium in Seville. In Chile, Mexico's Gilberto Mora celebrates after helping his team reach the quarterfinals of the Under-20 World Cup. In Canada, Thomas Muller lives the Canadian Championship trophy, his first piece of silverware since joining Vancouver Whitecaps in the summer. And there's the dream team there. United States, Inter Miami's Lionel Messi, Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba to celebrate a goal together for one of the last times after the latter two announced their impending retirement. So I didn't know that. So this is looking back at England's victory in the Under-17 World Cup. I'm trying to see, I saw a couple of familiar faces earlier on when I saw that shot. I can't see him now, but setting the Ballon d'Or straight. So Ousmane Dembele with the coveted prize. I'm quite happy he won it. He deserved it in my opinion. So the Diarra precedent, as another footballer uses the Lassana Diarra case to force through a move is a transfer revolution on the way. Pep-ism is over. The new season has seen the predominant possession-based tactical trends replaced. I read something on the BBC website, I didn't click on it, earlier today that said like how many goals in the Premier League this season have been scored, not just by Arsenal, but in general, by set pieces. It's very high apparently. Emmanuel Emera Strasbourg. When it was announced that the Strasbourg captain would join Chelsea at the end of the season, fans of the Alsace club were outraged. Since being taken over by Blueco in 2023, supporters feel they have become a feeder club to the Blues, that they are being taken for fools, as a banner in the stands declared. Another, addressing Omega, said, "After changing your jersey, give up your armband." Gus Boyet in a lovely career for Jumbo Hyundai Motors. The former Brighton and Sunderland boss is loving life in his first season in South Korea, with his team running away with the K-League title. Victor Ossian-Vuna of Shamrock Rovers just won the Irish Championship, I believe. Another team set to move to the Premier League when he turns 18. The Republic of Ireland under-17 international will join Arsenal in January 2027. Moves you might have missed. Steve Cooper, I said this to you a couple of weeks ago, almost a year after being axed by Leicester City, Cooper was appointed by Danish side Brøndby. In his first game he led them to a 2-1 victory over local rivals Copenhagen. Bas Dost, such a tall striker. 2 years after suffering a cardiac arrest during an Eredivisie game for NEC, the 36-year-old was forced to retire. The ex-Netherlands striker scored over 250 career goals. Oh, that's a shame. So Anthony Martial has gone to Mexico. The ex-Manchester United striker became the latest big name to join Liga MX, following the likes of James Rodriguez and my man Aaron Ramsey after departing AEK Athens for Monterrey. And Juan Mata has gone to Melbourne Victory for a year in the sun in Australia. Lucas Zidane, Zinedine's son, has changed to Algeria rather than France. 16 teams that will compete in next year's Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco, an increase on the 12-team tournament that took place in the summer. 70,000 potential capacity of Emirates Stadium after it was revealed that Arsenal are considering an expansion to their ground. 1 Azerbaijani clubs to have won consecutive UEFA Champions League games after Karabakh achieved the feat against Benfica and Copenhagen. They've done really well, haven't they? 123 days that Russell Martin was manager of Rangers before being sacked, the shortest reign in the club's history. His win ratio of 29% is also an all-time club low. 60 Champions League goals scored by Real Madrid's Kylian Mbappe after his hat-trick against Kairat, moving him up to 6th in the all-time scoring charts already. I think he's got quite a way to catch up with Ronaldo, doesn't he? Gilberto Mora, the Mexican I was talking about, wonder kid, Mora in action at the Gold Cup this summer. So doom and gloom has been Mexico's motto between 21 and 24, but it started to get a little bit better for them. Nobody has done more to raise the spirits of Mexican football fans than Gil Mora, the most exciting talent the country has produced in years. Claudia Scheunemann, meet the youngest international footballer of the history of the game. So she plays for Indonesia, apparently. 13 years old, oh my god, 13 years and 349 days old. She became the youngest player in the history of international football. Jiangsu City Football Club, the grassroots movement that could offer a different kind of future for Chinese football. They do need to do something. Packed house. Fans cram inside the Kunshan Olympic Sports Center for Suzhou versus Yangzhou. When Nanjing took on Suzhou on July the 5th, there were over 60,000 present, and according to reports, over 800,000 visited the ticketing website. China has tried the top-down approach in football, the way that Saudi Arabia are doing it nowadays, perhaps more than any other country, and without success. I want to see what's happening. Clubs folded, including Jiangsu. Ticket prices are low. So the Footballers got behind their teams to an impressive extent when Nanjing, from the provincial capital, took on the province's biggest city, Suzhou, on July 5th. There were over 60,000 present. The next night, 30,000 flocked to nearby Zhenjiang. The Irish Cup, the FAI Cup. So, Cork City will take on Shamrock Rovers the Aviva on November the 9th, with history beckoning. Cork are been relegated from the league, and they can actually win the cup against the champions elect. Mourinho back where it all began with oh gosh, what's his name? João Costa, is it? No, yeah, Rui Costa. What a player he was. It was AC Milan he played for. Fiorentina maybe. He is a character. When he was in charge of Roma, it was insane. I didn't really enjoy it, but at least there was lots to talk about. Paphos FC's Champions League debut. If you told anyone in 2013 that within 12 years Paphos would be competing in the UEFA Champions League, you would get some very odd looks. This is because, until 11 years ago, Paphos FC did not technically exist. I love the fact that we get a couple of the smaller teams nowadays, like Paphos and Kairat and Karabakh. Yeah, that's right, they got David Luiz play for them. I watched them in the Champions League the other week. This is Morocco. So Morocco's emergence as an international football hub. They have grand designs for the 2030 World Cup, and most notably the 115,000 capacity Hassan II Stadium in Casablanca. Striker Factory, how Eintracht Frankfurt's ability to develop goal scorers took them to the upper echelons of German football. So they had Luka Jovic, Sebastian Haller and Andre Silva. It's funny how they haven't all done that well since they've moved on though, isn't it? Omar Mamouche, Kolomwani, yeah, they have had some crackers, haven't they? Boya, Januzun and Eliawahi are the next ones apparently. Teenage kicks, Ethan Nwaneri, Arsenal's youngest ever players, flying the flag for the club's Hale End Academy, but is he ready to deliver in the Premier League? Teenage kicks. The 24 teenage talents to have appeared in the Premier League so far, including this guy, Rio Ngomona, he's very good. Estevao for Chelsea. Chris Rigg for Sunderland. Six of the best teenage tyros, including Rodrigo Mora of Porto, he's very good. Focus on India's league. One to watch, Guru Singh from Kerala Blasters, 18-year-old with high hopes. The youngest ever player last year to appear in the Southerners, for the Southerners who signed him after a stand-up performance in the Under-17 Asian Cup in 2023. Jan Oblak saying in his interview, "It's my aim to win the Champions League. Atletico Madrid deserve it." It would be great if I could fulfill my dream to play with Slovenia at a World Cup. It's crazy that a player of his ability has never been to a World Cup. Benny McCarthy, legend. "We have an opportunity to wake up a sleeping giant. The Kenya head coach on his team's impressive. impressive performances in the recent African Nations Championship and building for the future. Jeremy Kelly, I remember seeing the guys thinking, who the F is this American? The former Colorado Rapids and Crawley Town midfielder reflects on a nomadic career in France, England and the United States. Roberto Solano. Pakistan doesn't have a professional league, so it's not like you can go on the weekends and watch players. The former Peruvian Newcastle United winger discusses the difficulties of managing the Pakistan national team and how he and the Pakistani Football Federation hope to help football progress in the South Asian nation. Loved him as a player, one of my favourites. Multi-club ownership groups in North America are increasingly turning their attention to the women's game, writes Steve Menery. London City Lionesses owner Michelle Kang on the left watches the team in WSL action. As the women's game continues to mature commercially, it is increasingly likely that we see carve-out transactions for European women's teams. A new European era begins. Women's Champions League replicates the men's format by switching to a league phase while also introducing a second-tier competition. That's good. Asian Champions League. The second Asian Champions League also reached the main group stage, in this case 3 groups of 4 due to the vast distances involved. Fixtures will be played in hubs. Shaw moves for $1.25 million. Gotham FC paid $1.25 million, £925,000, a record fee for an intra-NWSL move, to sign striker Jaden Shaw from North Carolina Courage. The 20-year-old US international had joined NCC from San Diego Wave in January for around half that. Ultimate Guides to the MLS. Maybe I need to get me a copy of that. World Service. Saudi dominance dented. Saudi champions Al Ittihad haven't had it their own way in the opening round of the AFC Champions League Elite. Loving life. Former Manchester United and England winger Jesse Lingard is in good form for FC Seoul. I heard he was struggling when he first went out there, so that's good that he's got better. That is, of course, Karim Benzema. A-League shrinks. Western United will sit out the 25-26 campaign while reigning champions Melbourne City aim to retain their title. There's a picture of Juan Mata there, we said it's already gone there. Nashville triumph in US Open Cup. The MLS outfit lift the domestic cup, but debates continue to rage about how the competition fits in the US soccer landscape. The first Vancouver derby. The final of the Canadian Championship pitted Vancouver Whitecaps of MLS against Canadian Premier League side Vancouver FC. So Whitecaps defeated Vancouver FC 4-2 in the final of the Canadian Championship, becoming only the second club to win the competition in 4 consecutive seasons. They came quite close though, didn't they? It'd be really good if the sort of, the Canadian team in the Canadian League won it. Canada's finest Whitecaps players lift the trophy. I would quite like Wales to go back to that system that we used to have, which is like this, where you play the Welsh teams playing in England against the Welsh teams in a cup. We did try and do it recently, but it fell through. We were going to offer the winners a Europa League shot, but the English League said no, we can't let them do that. 5 things from the latter stages of the Copa Libertadores and Sudamericana. Another all-Brazilian Libertadores final. It looks unlikely, actually. If you see the results, I just did a results video. So yeah, it looks not as likely as usual. Holy See. A new season is ready to begin the Vatican after the previous campaign was interrupted. Entrants last season included Dir Secco, which represents the Directorate of the Economy of the Vatican State, the slides drawn from the Apostolic Archives, Archivio, the Museum, Musei, and the Pharmacy, Farmacia. Tales from the 211. Serie C, Italian third-tier club Crotone having been placed under judicial supervision for a year after police found sufficient evidence of pervasive mafia infiltration. Oh my god. Andorran League left in limbo. Following the footsteps of the Indian Super League, the Andorran top flight has also been forced to delay the start of the season scheduled to begin in September. It's been delayed by more than a month at the time of writing because the immigration quota was exhausted by the country. And then just some good old-fashioned results before we have a look at Giuseppe Rossi playing for Fiorentina against Juve. My teammates from Florence explained why this was the biggest game of the year. I could feel it. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks so much for watching. If you did enjoy them, please click that like button, leave a little comment if you want me to do this even more regularly than I have been doing. If you really love this type of video, let me know. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. I do have a playlist, I believe, for magazine reading, and if I don't